senior NFL insider for ESPN, Michigan man, Adam Schefter.
Yay!
Shefty, first 15, 39 minutes in at this point. We appreciate you joining us. Anything that you saw us talk about that we missed there or needs to be mentioned?
Jonathan Taylor's had a pretty good hand in succeeding where Danny Dimes has. And Danny Dimes, you know what's amazing is the Colts are under a lot of pressure, a lot of heat, and they haven't added that much. They added a quarterback and they added a tight end, right? That's basically what they did. Tyler Warren, Daniel Jones. And those two guys have turned that team into a dominant outfit. And a lot of people said they hadn't beaten anybody early on. Okay, fine. They went into L.A., and yes, that Charger team was beat up, but they beat up that team. You don't see an offense run up points the way that the Colts are doing. And what's amazing to me also is they're very rarely in third down. Like, they're getting everything on first, second down. They've been incredible to watch, and they are right now as good as about any team in football outside, with all due respect, maybe the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay, well, obviously, Kansas City Chiefs, we just did an entire thing about what Patrick Mahomes looks like right now and how they're potentially only getting better. I think we as the Indianapolis Colts, I'm not going to say we, I'll say as the fan of the Indianapolis Colts, I won't speak for the locker room. We'd like to play the Chiefs right now. Okay. Now, I think in a few weeks, this Chiefs team might continue to kind of do its thing, but so are we. I think we would not be scared of the smoke. And then Tampa Bay obviously is thinking the same thing down there in Tampa. We'll watch them tonight. Obviously, you'll give us some more intel on the two games this evening. Let's go to Bermuda, Bahama. Come on, pretty mama, baby, why don't we go down Kokomo? You know what? We'll get there fast and then we'll take it slow. That's where we wanna go. We're down in Kokomo. Let's talk about the benched boys. Okay, not the Beach Boys. Let's talk about Tua, Geno, and Justin Fields. Obviously not a super positive thing to chit-chat about, but the benched boys is how we'll refer to them. What should we be expecting for their stories going forward? And is this just because the team looked like trash on this particular day? Let's go ahead and scrap off and move forward.
I mean, I can't believe all the things that are going on in the league and that giant Broncos game, but you go to the bench boys, but okay, like, you want to go there.
You missed the first 30 minutes, Shefty. You missed the first 30 minutes. We already hit that. Yeah, we already hit that. But you have the updates that we don't have. Tua and the Miami Dolphins, obviously interesting situation. Geno and the Raiders. Pete Carroll and the Raiders. And then Justin Fields. Aaron Glenn came out and said every situation is still going to be moderated. We're early in the week. Feels like those are pretty big stories with three pretty big names there.
Yeah, listen, Aaron Glenn is leaning on the advice of other people. As he mentioned during the press conference, wants to talk to some other coaches around the league. I would imagine that means he'll be talking to Bill Parcells this week. Maybe Sean Payton gets some input on what he should and shouldn't be doing at quarterback. I think when you're talking like that, I think it's hard to go back to the initial guy. So it wouldn't surprise me if they go to Rod Taylor here, but that'll be a decision that Aaron Glenn has to make here. Tua Tagovailoa has struggled. It's not like they're going to turn to Quinn Ewers, I don't think, this early in the year. They're going to keep riding Tua right now. He'll be the guy. He's thrown a lot of interceptions. They've played bad football. You know, I know a lot of people thought that by this time the Dolphins would have wholesale changes today. It's not happening. They've been wanting to hold off on this for as long as they possibly can. I think we all recognize what's ahead in Miami, that there could be significant changes that come. They don't seem to be coming anytime soon. But obviously, when you play the way they have and lose the way that they are, I had one Dolphins fan text me yesterday that this is one of the lowest points in franchise history. There's going to be changes. And we know that there'll be changes. We just don't know how soon they'll come, but I'm not expecting any changes this week. The Raiders are on a bye week. They're going to have to sit down and evaluate everything. Their backup quarterback's Kenny Pickett. I guess they could try that for a spark. You know, the problem yesterday, they ran 30 total plays all game. If you look at it, I think that was like the lowest number of plays. I have it in my phone. It's like the lowest number. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Lowest amount of plays since at least 2002. I have some, I mean, just, you're not going to win that way. And it was a bad performance. They have not played well offensively. They should get Brock Bowers back after the bye. That'll help. They didn't have Jacoby Myers. Like, who's Geno throwing the football to yesterday? It's a tough thing.
Yeah, it's a tough thing. Injury is also a tough thing in the NFL storyline. We know you don't love that is a part of your gig, but it's real, especially at the quarterback position. Now, you have Jacoby playing for Kyler.
Yep.
You have Carson playing for JJ. Then we got a couple more seemingly yesterday. Go ahead, D-Bud.
Yeah, Carolina got another win yesterday, but Bryce Young went down late in that game, and then also Jaden Daniels went down in his game as well. Any updates there for those two quarterbacks?
Bryce Young won't play this week. He'll be out. He's dealing with a sprained ankle. And as for Jaden Daniels, well, Bryce Young, here's the play. He hobbled to the locker room after he went down here. Gingerly didn't come back in the game. Andy Dalton came on, and Andy Dalton will wind up starting for Bryce Young this week. Jaden Daniels also went to the blue medical tent, hobbled. People weren't exactly sure what it initially was. It turned out to be his hamstring. Look, we've seen what this is before, whereas Lamar Jackson had a hamstring injury. Now, who knows if they're the same grade? We don't know what grade Lamar's was, but he missed 2 weeks. They have the bye, and I think the Ravens feel like they'll get him back. Jaden Daniels hobbles off the field, doesn't come back in the game. I think it would be safe to say right now that it would be a surprise if he's playing a week from today against the Kansas City Chiefs on Monday Night Football, and the Commanders are about to embark upon really like the teeth of their schedule. They play the Chiefs, the Seahawks, the Lions. I think that it's fair to think that Jaden Daniels is going to miss some of those games at the very least. With a hamstring injury like that, here's a guy that makes his living with his legs, with his arm, and again, I think it'd be a surprise if he's back next week.
That sucks for all of us. Marcus Mariota, though, has already gotten some time, obviously. We'll see how that goes for Monday Night Football. Two guys that I mentioned there early, and we got a chance to experience the Carson Wentz experience yesterday. And also, you know, what's going on out there in Phoenix. Go ahead, Tone.
Yeah, we did get to experience that. And JJ was limited in practice this week, so it wasn't a surprise that Carson was starting this week. But what about going forward? Is JJ McCarthy the starter when Carson Wentz, is JJ McCarthy the starter when he is healthy? And then Pat talked about out in Phoenix, is Kyler the starter when he comes back as well?
My understanding is with Carson Wentz and JJ, the Vikings play a short week this week. They have the Chargers Thursday night. I would expect that we get Carson Wentz on Thursday night.
Yes.
And I was told there's a chance that JJ McCarthy will be ready for the week after at Detroit. So, again, I think if Carson Wentz comes back and plays well, they win the game Thursday night. Maybe that buys JJ another week. If not, then I think JJ could be back as soon as that week at Detroit. Now, Kyler Murray, they're on a bye this week. My understanding all along has been that he will be back for Monday Night Football 2 weeks from tonight at Dallas. Kyler's from that area. He's not going to miss a game in Jerry's world against the Cowboys. So you could expect to see Kyler back 2 weeks from tonight.
Okay, so Kyler's back in Jerry World. I think he has a pretty good record through high school and everything like that. And then Jacoby Brissett will continue to spin it for them. And then Carson Wentz is on Thursday night against the Chargers. Is that what you said?
That's what I would think. That would be my expectation right now.
Full card.
That's been the problem with these 9:30 a.m. Sunday games. We had a taste of Carson Wentz football at 9:30 a.m. We had a taste of the Carson Wentz experience at 9:30 a.m., and we thought to ourselves, this is the greatest way to start a day. Did you see him yesterday? We are in full Carson Wentz experience time right now with the Minnesota Vikings. Kevin O'Connell can say what he wants, but when a guy can do that, drop it on a dime, Jordan Addison in the corner, you're allowed to do whatever you want. He'll do this every once in a while. That's an easy one. I'll miss it. Okay, just because it's better for you. And then, oh, shit, it's going to get snapped over my head. Obviously not his fault, but he'll make the play. He's going to get on that play. He's been in that position before. And then every once in a while, he's going to take a huge shot and just throw it to the other team. That's not his fault. Took a massive shot. Quarterbacks are going to do that. They obviously crib that thing, so that's a little bit of a different story. And Carson Wentz will get a little handsy. Yep, let me throw it backwards real quick out of bounds. This is the Carson Wentz experience we were talking about. Anything could happen on any play, including this. Cross body, hawk that thing to who? Somebody. Like a punt. It's a punt. Don't worry about it, Carson Wentz says. And then whenever you talk about evading and escaping and dropping, boom, he does that on the other side of it. That is the Carson Wentz experience. And as the game got later, Carson only got better. Feels like the Eagles were only getting more scared. Little underhanded stuff. How you doing, TJ Hawkinson? Why don't you get it out there? And then every once in a while, there'll be a little bit of chaos. Let me throw it right into the ground here. Who's around me? Nobody. That's obviously An intentional grounding. Yeah, that'll be a sack there. So there's just a never ending of whoa. He's like the Michigan Wolverine football team, but on every single play. It could be the greatest play or it could be the worst play at any given moment. And that's Carson Wentz's experience that's coming on Thursday night. Consider me in. All right, Ty has a question for you, Schefter.
Schefter, you said that you thought the trade deadline would be pretty active this year.
Yeah.
After yesterday and the Raiders just get absolutely embarrassed, and I know we do this every single year because the Raiders kind of suck around this time every single year. Is there any chance that Max Crosby is potentially going to get traded? A couple teams out there, like Colts could maybe use a D end. Is there any chance that the Raiders will even entertain that, or is it just going to be no?
Ty, they haven't done that in the past. I wouldn't imagine that they would do it now, especially considering that when Pete Carroll comes back as the oldest coach in NFL history, he's not coming back to rebuild a team and stockpile picks. Pete Carroll is coming back to compete. And obviously they've run into some hard times here, and they're not winning and they're not playing overly well. But I can't imagine that Pete Carroll is going to be on board with trading a game-changing defensive guy. And if and when the day ever were to come that Max Crosby were traded, I think it would have to be coming from Max Crosby, going in there and saying, guys, I can't take it anymore. I want to be traded. And they just paid him in the offseason. They just gave him a new contract. So it's hard. You can't get everything in life. Like, you can't be treated like the face of the franchise, as he's been deservedly so because he's an incredible player. You can't be rewarded and paid in the offseason. And you can't turn around and say, well, I know we've sucked in the first 7 games and I want to be traded now. Like, it doesn't work like that. So I never rule out anything in this league. Anything's always possible. We'll see how it shakes out. But to me, I think he's staying in Vegas.
I don't think Max Crosby's ever wanted to be traded. Max Crosby gets very pissed off at us and others whenever it even comes up on our conversation because, Raider through and through. But we would like to let Max Crosby know we got to see you play live in person against the Colts. It'd be really cool to watch you play in big games.
Yeah, just want to see him win.
Yeah.
It would be so cool.
Playoffs.
It'd be so cool. He's a Raider. I get it. I understand they took a shot on you. You're very loyal. We all respect that. We respect shit out of Max Crosby. Very big fans. Such big fans. Would be really cool to watch him go through a playoff run. Just take over games, too.
Yeah.
Imagine the world getting to see him at Super Bowl. Max, think about the game, brother. Think about the game.
Exactly.
Super Bowl. You got people that are watching only one game a year. They don't even know what American football is. And what do they see? This super tatted white dude off the edge who never stops.
Yeah.
And just full menace the whole time. Might open this game up to another 100 million people.
No doubt.
Legit.
Him and Buckner.
Oh, come on. Mad Max, we need you. Now, on that note, the fact that you're so loyal and respect and all that stuff is part of the reason why you are the person that
Very
we love.
cool.
Yeah, we get it. But he gets mad at us anytime it's mentioned. We would like that to be known.
I was going to say, would Trey Hendrickson be more likely because of his relationship with Lou Anarumo, but did the Thursday night win kind of put that on halt, Schefter, potentially?
Lou Anarumo?
And Trey Hendrickson, was he ever on the block? Because he's on a 1-year deal, basically. He'd be a good rental in the Colts' relationship with Lou Anarumo. And did the Thursday night win kind of put things on hold there if he ever was on the block?
I mean, I don't know that it was on a hold. Like, they're trying to get back in this. They traded for Joe Flacco. They won a game. If they lose the next 2 games leading up to the trade deadline, could that change things? Sure. But I don't think the Bengals are looking to give away Trey Hendrickson, and I don't think Trey is thinking about or entertaining the idea that he's going to be leaving right now. Like, we exchanged a couple of texts last week. He had no idea what was going on, like, and nothing along those lines of him being traded. And again, in this league, anything's always possible. We'll see how it shakes out. But I think the Bengals are focused on trying to turn around their season before the trade deadline, coming off a big win Thursday night against the Steelers.
The NFL, anything is possible, including people calling in from a different state. Go ahead, D-Butch.
Yeah, what the hell is this about, Schefter? Like, we saw it with Jared Goff with the shift, and they called back the touchdown. They said it came from New York, and then I just remembered when we were talking about T.J. Hockenson, that touchdown, he had diving touchdown. It was called a touchdown. Then it was reviewed, and he said he didn't get any confirmation from the referees on the field that they saw anything to overturn it, but it came from New York. What's going on with the NFL and them coming in from New York, changing calls, and the refs on the field not really doing it?
Well, that's always been the case. The league has always been able to watch these games and weigh in with their opinion. I think that was part of the change in the offseason rules and the way they approach this, that New York office will always be involved in these kinds of things. So I think when the officials are huddling, the eye in the sky, the eyes in New York are always watching as well. And I think everybody's trying to come together to come up with the best opinion, the right call on any of these situations, whether it's coming from on the field, in the booth, in New York, wherever it may be. So I think New York has always kind of been watching things. They've got their eyes on all games at all times.
Oh, yeah.
And I think they've always been able to weigh in with their opinion.
And all people. Yeah, I mean, they're watching this right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They go.
I might get a text about it. Like, here's the deal. Like, they know the people know who they are. Like, give me the update. What do you have to say about that?
And those people, let's be good, okay? If you're going to have that type of power, let's make sure we're good at it. And I appreciate the fact that they're giving their opinion. Let's give facts. Let's give facts, okay? Let's make sure we're doing that, especially if we all kind of understood that New York was doing that, and then they're lying about it.
Yeah, because if the refs on the field, 3 refs on the field tell you, like, hey, we saw it this way, we got it, but, hey, like, that's as
a babyface move by the refs, though.
True.
That's like the refs maybe trying to put themselves over in the moment as opposed to burying New York.
Yeah.
That's not good.
No.
You should get everybody on the same page. Hey, New York, if you're going to be giving your opinion, we think this is a good game. Also, that's not a catch. Let's make sure all the other refs just buy in and go, hey, New York said that's the case, as opposed to, I would have gave it to you.
Yeah. Messed up.
That's a tough look.
Or do what the ACC does.
Wide open.
That's the best.
Let us hear it.
Yeah.
Tonight, we got 1 minute. We wasted a lot of your time, Schefter. We are so sorry. What do we need to look at for tonight, injuries-wise? Detroit Lions secondary banged up bad, and Brian Branch out, right? That's a big story.
Yeah, it's obviously a huge deal. The fact no Avante Maddox, no Kirby Joseph, no Terry and Arnold, Brian Branch suspended. So you're talking about basically essentially a starting secondary wiped out due to injury or suspension. The Buccaneers wide receivers, no Chris Godwin. I think Mike Evans is going to wind up playing, and I think, to the surprise of many, Emeka Egbuka has a real chance to play tonight. They're going to test him pre-game to make a final determination. But as I was told over the weekend, I think it was trending towards him playing, and they'll obviously see how he feels pre-game before signing off. But I think there's a real chance he's going to be out there tonight.